One of the earliest memories I have of my dad, I'm about 3 years old, and me, him, and my twin brother are playing hide and seek in our living room in Indiana. And I decide to hide in a laundry basket under a pile of clothes. My dad, being a huge prankster, comes to find us, picks up the laundry basket with me in it, jokingly goes to the front door, opens it, puts me on the porch, and closes the door behind him. This, by the way, is not child abuse, it's just parenting in the 80s. A few seconds go by, but in my toddler brain, it feels like an eternity. So I jump out of the basket and I start pounding on the door and I beg him not to leave me. He opens the door and he's laughing and he scoops me up, and I have definitely not been traumatized by this early childhood experience. A few years later, my mom and him separate, and he ends up moving across the country to California to live with his sister. And California is great, we love to visit, but it's really sad because he lives so far away, my brother and I don't get to see him that often. And when we do, the trips are always such a whirlwind. We cram in a ton of activities and it's really fun. We go to Chuck E. Cheese and go bowling and we go to the arcade, but it always feels like it's over before it even begins, and we just don't ever feel like we have enough time with him. Around the time my brother and I are in 5th grade, my dad is diagnosed with large cell lymphoma, and if you are familiar with that, it's an aggressive, fast-growing cancer. But at that age, we don't really know anything about cancer, just that our dad gets pretty sick, and we visit him after one of his treatments, and he's lost all of his hair, including his iconic 70s-style bushy mustache, and he's so tired that on one of our visits, he actually has to lie down on a bench in Fisherman's Wharf and take a 4-hour nap. And if you've ever been to Fisherman's Wharf, you know all the tourists and the mimes. That's actually a really hard place to sleep, and you probably aren't feeling very well. But it's all worth it because he beats cancer, at least for a little while. About 2 years after that, his cancer comes back out of remission. And we don't know the details of that prognosis except for the fact that my dad decides not to seek treatment this time. So not long after that, he enters hospice. And my mom gets a dreaded phone call from our aunt saying that our dad is getting close and that we need to go out to California soon if we want to see him again. But being kids, we're not told that. My brother and I had actually just turned 13, and our dad's birthday was 3 days after ours. So naively, we think that we're getting sent to California because it's some sort of joint birthday celebration. But when we get there, it's pretty obvious upon seeing our dad that that's not the case, and we know that it's going to be his time. Usually a joyful prankster, he's frail, and he's going in and out of consciousness, but he had waited to see his twins, and he manages to squeak out that he loves us. Unfortunately, the next morning he passes away. He was a week past his 36th birthday. Yeah. If you lose a parent when you're that young, their age becomes almost like a scarlet letter. And it's something that you think about constantly, and you worry that you're never going to make it to that age. 36 found me in 1 year into a toxic job in tech. It was all-consuming, and I was really unhappy, but I felt like I had to stick it out. I go to visit my brother about a week after our birthday. We're in Phoenix, and we decide on a beautiful sunny day to go on a hike in the mountains. And about a mile into the hike, my brother stops abruptly in front of me and turns to face me, and I can see that tears are streaming down his cheeks. "Jess," he says, "we've made it." But I'm so confused. I'm like, "John, why are you crying, and what do you mean we've made it? Like, All Trail says we have at least 3 miles to go." "Jess, no, like, we made it. Today we're officially older than Dad was when he died." And that stopped me dead in my tracks, which probably is a bad pun given the circumstances of this story, but if we don't laugh, we're probably gonna cry together, right? It really shook me to my core because at this point, I didn't think that I was going to make it to this age. And it occurred to me that I did not feel that old at all, and also that life is really, really short. And so I decided then and there I wasn't going to waste a second more of my time doing things that didn't bring me joy. So I decided to quit my job. I leave without another job lined up, and the past 2 years since then have been some of the most meaningful of my life. I've checked off so many things from my bucket list. I've traveled places that I've always wanted to go: Australia, Iceland, New Zealand. I took a French class. I have taken so many delightful afternoon naps that I've lost track. I've thrown really incredible theme parties for my friends, including a Christmas in July, complete with a Santa impersonator. And tonight, I'm performing at my third Moth StorySLAM. Yes. Many of the memories of my life have been punctuated by the absence of my father. I'm really sad that he wasn't there to teach me how to drive, to meet any of my boyfriends, and I'm sad that he won't be there for future memories. He won't be able to walk me down the aisle or meet my future children. And even though the past 2 years have been super meaningful to me, I would give all of them back for a little bit more time with my dad. But in the shadow of his short life and of his death, I think I found a really great silver lining, which is the permission to fully live my life. Thank you.
Keep it going for Jessica.